Disney's it girl right now. And how does that feel, and how the pressure of all that kind of go with it, and how are you dealing with all that?
Yeah, it's really, of course it's overwhelming and there's a lot to think about.
The 25-year-old has publicly battled addiction, eating disorders, and mental illness for years.
I actually had anxiety around this interview.
Why is that?
Because the last time I did an interview this long, I was on cocaine.
About that face. It seems to me like he was just one big mistake. Yeah.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today is the first episode of child stars and where they're at now, and just a few mishaps they may have gone through, a few things they may have dealt with behind the scenes, because I feel like people don't really talk about child stars. It doesn't really get the attention it deserves, because every year we see a new child just blowing up, having a lot of attention on them. And I feel like this was severely popular back in 2000s, the early 2000s. It's from people like Justin Bieber.
There's a way to go.
Okay, sorry, Justin.
There's a way to go about this.
Okay, sorry.
Please,
You look.
Miley Cyrus.
You are the rudest human being I've ever met in my life.
Selena Gomez, Hilary Duff, Amanda Bynes. What's his name again? Macaulay Culkin, the kid from Home Alone, who we literally all fell in love with. And now look at them. Obviously, some of them haven't been as bad as the others, but I do want to talk about every single situation. And I will continue to make this a series, and in upcoming episodes, I will be featuring other people so you can hear their thoughts and opinions. Let's just get started. Okay, so the first person we're going to be talking about is Selena Gomez. I loved Selena Gomez character on Wiz Baby Place because she was just portrayed completely different. She wasn't the typical Disney girl who always had things going her way. Things always turned out the right way for her in the end. She was this stubborn type. She was the opposite of what Disney was so used to putting out. So that's why I personally feel like I can connect with her. Not because we were both stubborn, no, but because she was just different from most girls. That's what every guy says, right? I loved her on the show. Selena Gomez is actually a young child star because I think she was 7 when she auditioned for Barney, and she was on the show for 2 years, and then after that she was consistently acting. She got different roles and different gigs, and then back in 2007 she got the role of Wiz Waverly Place. When she was 10 years old, she was discovered by Disney in a nationwide search, and Demi Lovato was discovered as well. 2007, that's when Wiz Waverly Place debuted, and
Oh. No,
you can't just change it.
Yeah, no, it's not. I said random.
She doesn't do the rules on anything.
Ooh, I
I'm gonna
like
do
this
this
one.
and that.
Rain on, chain on.
that was when my heart was just complete, because I needed something different. And at the age of 7, I know that I don't really know much, but at the same time I promise you I knew everything back then. Like, when you're so used to things going the same way, you kind of get bored of it. So Disney finally came out with a different concept, so being a wizard and it running in the family. It was just a different concept to anything we've seen on Disney, and it did very well because of that. So after that, she kept on acting. She was booked and busy on other Disney shows like Jonas Brothers. She was even in an episode of Hannah Montana. She was booked and busy. Princess Stories. She was everywhere. Let's put it at that. You couldn't miss her out. And with that being said, when you're constantly everywhere, when you're constantly booked and busy, there's a lot of pressure to, make sure not only are you acting the correct way, because that's one thing. Another thing is behind the scenes, people don't really tell you about the way you're supposed to look, or the imagery, or how you should be perceived as this like childhood sweetheart. And that's why a lot of these people who we were once obsessed with when we were younger, they are just completely different now. Like even Miley Cyrus, she was painted as this sweetheart who never made mistakes. Everybody has those days. Like, she was this childhood sweetheart. I feel like every single Disney girl was painted as a childhood sweetheart, and then when you're constantly labeled as only that, it's like you can't make mistakes. You can't be seen smoking. You can't be seen, attending a club at 12 in the morning. You can't do anything, especially knowing that you're not actually this innocent sweet girl. That's what becomes annoying. And I feel like with Selena Gomez, she had that label from such a young age, and I don't think Selena Gomez is completely innocent. Like, you can't tell me Selena Gomez doesn't party late at night. She doesn't do the normal things that people do at her age. There's nothing wrong with that, but people think that, oh, if she was to attend a club very late, if she was to be seen talking to a guy, she's immediately dating. There's so much things that goes on behind the scenes where if it was a normal person, I kid you, nobody would care about it. But because these are people who are in the public light, this is the kind of stuff that come with it. In an interview before, Selena Gomez said that she had to look a certain way and she was pressured to fit society's standards of beauty. Now, in my opinion, Selena Gomez is absolutely gorgeous. You have to realize this is the pressure that a lot of females go through, especially at a younger age, where you're already going through your own issues in your head, or already going through the cycle itself On top of that, grown men telling you, you can't look this way, you need to dress this way, you need to do that, you need to do that, it becomes very annoying. And one thing I will say about Selena Gomez is she isn't, yes, she can be a little bit annoying and problematic in her own way, because we're not going to sit here and act like people aren't problematic. People have said things in which I'm sure sometimes they regret, or things they're literally going to take full ownership for. That's not what we're here to talk about. But the thing is with Selena Gomez, this image of super nice, never makes mistakes, you can't put it on somebody who's in their mid-20s. You can't let it drag with you above the age of 18. I think it just needs to stop. And that's the issue that a lot of Disney girls in particular were faced with, even Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus. And then you see them wilding out, you see them, you know, going into drug misuse. And Selena Gomez has allegedly been seen taking drugs, doing drugs. I'm not sure how much of that is true, but if it is true, do not be surprised. Do not think, oh, she's a saint, this, that, and the other. No, this is the paths people go into, especially if you're around toxic people. If you're around people who are telling you to do this, to do that, because other people are doing it, because it's landed on this still, you're going to take it, you're going to do it, especially if you want it badly. Now, I'm not saying that is definitely true, because in Selena's case, it might have not been true. Being famous at a young age, I don't see any benefits whatsoever. I think that you need to wait until at least 18 to really start getting into acting, and before you put your child out there and booking gigs. I know for some people, they book gigs for their kids because they want to survive, they want to be able to pay the rent, and that's the normality of things, I understand, but just imagine if your child actually makes it. Like, yes, it's great for you as a parent, but at the same time, there's a lot of pressure for the kid to get the roles right. There's a lot of pressure for the kids to look a certain way, to act a certain way, and nobody needs that at such a young age. And I feel like with Selena Gomez, her main issue was painted as this squeaky clean girl who did absolutely nothing wrong. And the sad part is, I think that is still playing up now. I think that Selena Gomez is still having that issue of having this squeaky role, and maybe it's coming as an advantage to her, because if she ever says anything or does anything, people are going to forgive her easily, or think that no, that's not true, that's probably a lie, when in reality something could have been true. Let's talk about other people like Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus was 13 years old when she first begun her role on Hannah Montana. 13 years old is too young. At the age of 13, I was probably opening my textbook and revising for something that I wasn't really passionate about. What were you doing at 13? She probably has been acting before that. Miley's case is completely different. Miley just went wild. Miley went wild. But the thing with Miley is that I think that she was another girl who was dealt with a lot of pressure, because, you know, she had the long brown hair, she had to always wear dresses, she had to always basically look a certain way. And the struggles when older men are telling you to change, especially older men with power. You know, there's a difference between just old men in general saying something, and then old men that actually have power to control you and to make your career amazing, squeaky clean. We've seen that before with Dan Schneider. He was the executive producer for many shows on Nickelodeon, like Victorious, iCarly, the list, the Amanda Show, the list literally goes on. If you haven't heard about that guy, go and do some research, because he's crazy and he's been baited out for it. So the pressure a lot of old white men in Hollywood put on these little kids, it sticks with you, and sometimes you're just going to follow them because you think that's the right way, especially at a younger age where you're really naive and you don't really know much. And sometimes you don't really have your parents around you. Some of these people didn't have their parents going around different sets. The only person with them were managers, okay? And managers sometimes, you know, in order to get a paycheck, in order to get things your way too, you're going to listen to these old white men. You are. Miley Cyrus is good girl gone bad to me. Literally good girl gone bad. That's literally Rihanna's album, right? Until 2013, where Wrecking Ball came out, that was the whole bangers era and everybody was shook. But why are you shocked? I lived for that. That was my favorite moment. But why were people so genuinely shocked that Miley was going through this? People weren't happy with her smoking weed.
I couldn't fit this award in my bag, but I did find this. So thank you guys very much.
Wearing really revealing clothes when it's literally just a crop top that you can buy from Forever 21 that you have probably worn before. People were literally disappointed and mad at her, and the world hated Miley Cyrus. If you go on Miley's old videos from 2010, everybody's like, I miss this Miley Cyrus, I miss this Miley Cyrus. But the thing is, I don't think she misses that. You have to remember, if you're not happy with the state you're in, no one can tell you otherwise. Countless amount of interviews that she wasn't happy with the way she was as a young child. Yes, she was earning stuff. She was an overnight sensation. And busy. Ellen was constantly interviewing her on her talk show. People weren't happy with the change.
Because it's not a transition. Like, people always want to call it a transition. It's not a transition. I'm the same human. I've got the same heart I did 5 years ago. Everything about me the same. Same skin, same human. So it's not a transition. It's a movement. It's a growth. I've never been one that's tried to please anybody.
Cutting her hair, her going blonde, and people were saying, oh my god, she's having a crazy breakdown moment. No, she's just living life and doing something to please her. A lot of these people audition for gigs and roles to please their family so that they can, you know, afford things, because the cost of living is rising and rising and rising. I remember Ross Lynch, aka Austin from Austin and Ally, I remember him saying in an interview that the only reason why he auditioned for a show was so that he could pay for the expense of his family, so that he can pay for the cost of living, which is so sad. But sometimes parents feel they have to put their kids in a situation like that so they can support themselves. And I think Bella Thorne was in the exact same position.
When people saw me on TV, it was Shake It Up. And I remember walking into that audition, it wasn't a choice. It was, this pays the bills. This is what you do.
She wasn't free before. She had a lot of contracts, and she had, you know, my mom and like everybody just trying to be like, you have to be like this served on a platter kind of thing.
You have to dress this way. You have to talk like this.
They have no idea even a tenth of what really happens behind the scene.
So that's why I constantly have to put out my image, the realer, grittier side, which of course gets me the backlash.
She wasn't really down for Shake It Up, but the only reason why she went on the show was so that she can really just pay for things and afford things, not even for her, but for her parents, which is, it's sad, but I think majority of us would do the same thing too. Things are always going to look great to begin with, but then when a lot more pressure is on you, when the limelight is constantly on you, when you're booked and busy, that's when things get worse. Miley Cyrus bleaching her hair and cutting it off and just literally having the quiff, everybody was mad at it. I kid you not, it was probably 90% mad, 10% okay with it. I was part of the 10% because I was mature enough to know that this is the decision that she wanted. I don't think she was heavily influenced. I know Pharrell Williams did say you should definitely go for like a different look, especially if you want to really showcase this side of you. But nobody told her to cut it that short. It was a decision she made, and she was comfortable with that until the world was basically bashing her.
Miley Cyrus in her tongue in her non-twerking ass. Okay, that tongue, Miley, I just want to cut it off, but I think it's going to grow back like a starfish's leg.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
And a lot of these people who are child stars, they constantly are hated on still to this day for having a different look or for taking drugs, for doing that. Everybody makes mistakes. We have to remember that. Nobody lives their life all squeaky clean or perfect. So I was really, in particular, happy that Miley was able to just step out of that boundary and just really be like, not every Disney girl is picture perfect. I'm different. I'm going to show you how different I am. She was meant to be the good girl who never did anything naughty. She was always squeaky clean, always wearing cute pink dresses, long hair, always on, like, looks always on fleek. But I was happy with seeing this different aspect to Miley. Let me know if you guys agreed with that, but I was particularly happy. I don't know about you.
Miley Cyrus is a culture vulture, yo. Huge. I mean,
Miley Cyrus is trash.
A couple months ago, I remember reading, shit, even the producer that worked with her was disappointed by some of her comments because she said, listen, I'm deviating from hip-hop because hip-hop is going some places I don't fuck with.
Word.
And she was saying that what hip-hop represents, she's not with at the current moment.
At the top of that list is Miley Cyrus in her tongue in her non-twerking ass. Your booty cheeks just flapping in the wind. Like, who thinks that's sexy? And I don't want you to feel like you are validated in twerking because you didn't put some thick black chicks up on stage. No, honey. Look, twerking goes back to Africa. Okay, that is a part of my heritage. You are not a twerker.
So next person we're going to be talking about is Justin Bieber.
He's already one of the biggest stars on the planet.
Girls falling all about the place. It was crazy.
Justin Bieber is the biggest pop star on the planet.
I just want to say thank you to all my fans. You guys are truly amazing, and it's really a blessing to have you guys, just all your support.
This is an interesting case of everything happened way too quickly.
It's a big, big world. It's easy to get lost in.
Paparazzis are gonna see you, take pictures of you. Paparazzis are evil, absolutely evil.
Asking the dumb questions that you're asking.
Guys, listen. How many pictures do you need?
It's you in the sun right now, homie.
Yeah,
it's
in
the sun.
You're in the sun.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Guys.
driving so fast coming out of the driveway.
Don't worry about it. You guys are all in front of the whip. You know, it's really hard to... No. You have to drive fast. Give him some space. You took off really fast. Are you guys worried about me, or are you guys worried about this guy that's on the ground? No, I know. What are you guys doing? That's my boy. That's my boy. You guys are on the ground and you guys are... Hey, Mo, you all right? Put your cameras down and get back.
Their whole job is to take pictures of celebrities at their worst moments.
Come on, guys. Don't get hit or do I don't really care.
Come on, guys. You ever seen those videos of like Miley Cyrus go into the shop and then the paparazzi will ask her a question about something she doesn't want to talk about, and then they will literally give it the worst headline when nothing actually went down. The reason why they do that is because if you have the best photo that fits the header, it's going to sell more, you're going to make the most money. That's why paparazzis are always trying to get the best picture and clicking constantly. I don't mess with paparazzis. I think one day I want to make a video about paparazzis because it's not normal to follow people around. It's not normal to abuse people and ask them stuff in which, you know, if somebody had asked you, you wouldn't like in particular. Paparazzis are another part to play as to why people are being secretive in Hollywood and why people are doing things in the dark. That sounds so wrong, but you get what I mean.
I'm serious. It is not. You want to hold my Johnson? No.
He rose to fame very quickly. He was posting covers on YouTube. Well, his mum was posting videos of him on YouTube. And let's just say, little did she know her son was going to be a global success. He's still relevant till this day, whether you guys choose to believe it or not. I know a lot of people love to shade Justin Bieber. For whatever reason, that's completely fine. Justin Bieber was only 13 when he was discovered, and Usher decided to mentor him and coach him. Again, at the age of 13, I was opening a textbook, revising, probably stressing about life. Fame got to him at a very young age. In Justin's situation, when you have millions of girls screaming your names, at first it's very exciting because, you know, you're once a nobody and you probably had nobody screaming your name apart from your mum saying, yes, Justin, you can do it. But then when it happens that millions of thousands, if not millions of people are constantly like, Justin, 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 you get big-headed. Justin Bieber is very cocky in my opinion, but that's one of the traits of what I like about him, especially when you know you're good. That's one of the things I like about him. But Justin is somebody who is all over the place, and he has admitted himself that at the age of 20 he was, you know, taking part in drug misuse. Now that he's able to finally sit down and talk to you guys about the pressures of the media and the pressures of being a child star and growing up with basically everything at your hands, it isn't the best. Trust me, money can't buy happiness, and people say it all the time, but it generally can't. If anything, it can't make your happiness permanent. It can last maybe a month or so, but after that, what next? When you've got everything you want, there's nothing more you need. A lot of people are like, oh my god, I want to be like a star. I wish I could have everything. But the thing is, when you finally get everything, what's next? I do feel sorry for him a lot of the times. And yes, Justin can be a right douchebag sometimes and do some really problematic things, say some really problematic things.
I'm Jennifer Sanasi, and you're watching News 24 Live. The video of Justin Bieber being racist has surfaced. The video was taken 5 years ago.
Bieber publicly apologized 5 years after the videos had resurfaced. I personally was disappointed by it all and genuinely stopped listening to him and paying attention to him for a year. To begin with, my parents actually taught me about the word and the dangers of using it. I wasn't taught it growing up in a classroom. Even though I did go to a predominantly black school, the N-word wasn't really brought into topic, and I think later on in this video I mentioned that.
In what she's taken accountability for.
Many black people either forgave him and saw a positive change in his behaviour, especially after all these years, therefore accepted his apology and have given him room to grow and learn. Others choose not to accept it as they are completely entitled to doing so. Okay guys, so here is a chart that I created. It's called the how and why. On the top you can see it says, can we see drastic change in behaviour? Have you only apologised because you've been called out and you feel obligated to? Now, based off of every scandal that's happened with maybe your favourite artists, with celebrities, people you like or dislike, we have to think, has this person only made a statement because they felt like, oh my god, it's going to ruin my career? Or has someone actually made a statement because they want to see change and because they're looking forward to change and they're actually taking steps to do something better? A lot of people are quick to cancel people, including myself. Back in 2019, I was very quick to just judge people based off of maybe one thing they said in which they've, you know, maybe grown up from, because you can grow up and learn your wrong and rights, but it's just how you say it. It's just whether you actually mean it or whether it's clockable, and we can see you just did it to basically promote your new album or new single. Now, I also want you guys to think about you. Can you forgive him? Not what you feel entitled or obligated to do. If you feel like you can forgive somebody, her or him, do it. If you feel like you can't, then you can't. But make it a decision based upon you, not anybody else on social media. If you found in your heart to forgive somebody, that's completely fine, especially if you feel like majority of people won't forgive the person. It's up to you. It's your opinion. At the end of the day, it's all based on you. And that's something that I'm trying to learn being on my channel. I am a commentary channel. I'm very expressive, but I have to remember, and you all have to remember too, that everything I say on my platform is how I feel. And if you guys disagree, I always give you guys the place to comment down below. And we might not see eye to eye, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's based on our opinions.
A lot of decisions these people were making at a young age were not from them. It wasn't from them, it was from parents, from managers, it was from people just basically speaking for them. Maybe, for instance, Justin didn't want to perform at a certain place or a certain award show. He would have to say yes, 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 because the managers were happy for that, because it gives them more exposure, it gives them more money. And you're probably thinking, oh, why wouldn't Justin want to perform at an award show? Maybe because some people just aren't up for performing that specific day. And if you guys haven't noticed, Justin Bieber doesn't attend award shows anymore. The cameras are constantly on him. When everything becomes about you, it does get annoying. Now, at the beginning, I think Justin was happy with things being all about him, you know, the eyes being all about him, because he can finally showcase his talents to the world. But then, I'm going to say from when the Purpose album came out, so 2016? When Sorry came out, Love Yourself, that whole era, that was when I feel like Justin realized that this is the normality of my life. This is what I'm gonna have to deal with. This is what my kids are gonna have to deal with. The Bieber blood, girl, it ain't going nowhere. Like, I honestly feel sorry for Justin Bieber, and you're probably thinking, Keisha, he said some really effed up things. Yes, I know. All that to the side, I feel sorry for the fact that this guy can't walk down the street without someone recognizing him, or a camera constantly just popping up every single second. And also, I think Justin Bieber had to deal with the good boy gone bad image. Every person who's made it in the industry, if they haven't had a bad boy image just yet, they're going to, unless you're Shawn Mendes. Shawn Mendes can perfectly live his career. He can literally live his career just being the good boy. It's worked in his favor, it works for some people, but with Justin, I think that he felt that he had to be this bad boy in order for people to like take him serious as an artist and realize that, you know, I can be both. We've seen it before with Justin Timberlake, crazy stuff like, you know, drink driving, crashing cars, mistreating people, peeing in buckets.
What'd you say?
In my eyes, probably had the worst case of being a child star. People around him haven't always been the best of people. Back in 2013, 2014, we're not good people. There are people who wanted to take his money, and he's even said this before in interviews. People who wanted to take his money, people who would basically steal from him when he wasn't even aware about it, people who basically want to be like, yeah, I'm friends with Justin Bieber. You're not. Basically, people who are bragging and basically taking and taking and taking. In a friendship, you shouldn't be taking things, okay? It should be about both parties putting in something together. From what we can see anyways, it doesn't seem like he even has a clique anymore. There was a clique that he used to hang out with. I hang out with this person so I can have this, that, so I can experience this, because I can't experience it for myself because I'm an irrelevant ass person. All right, the last person we're gonna be talking about today is Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is someone who confuses me. I forget that she's literally 17. Like, I forget Billie's age because of her mentality and mindset. Now, Billie to me is by far one of the child stars who seems like they had their head screwed on from a very young age, and that could be because of their upbringing, that could be because of the advice they were told by people in the industry. She has 40 million followers on Instagram. She has, let's pull up the receipts, sister. She got her start at the age of 17, I believe, but I think it's 16 because that's when Ocean Eyes came out, right? I think that it is scary to see what may come next. You know, we've seen a bunch of child stars just head in really toxic directions, taking drugs, you know, plenty of drug misuse, plenty of being around toxic people, people who don't have their head screwed on equally, people who don't get to hang out with their parents whatsoever, so they have to hang out with people who they feel like gets them in a way when they actually don't get them. Billie Eilish is one of the very few people who was surrounded by family all the time, and I think that's one of the reasons as to why her head is screwed on, and that's why she's always doing, I guess in our eyes, the right and suitable thing. Billie Eilish being so young and so famous and successful, you have to think to yourself, what's next for her? Is this success gonna last? It could very much last, but at the same time, the pressures she's dealing with behind the scenes, I can imagine there's a lot. There's people who are saying that Billie doesn't appear the right way. Her appearance isn't great whatsoever. Why is she wearing baggy clothes? Why is she constantly wearing neon clothing? Why can't she just wear a dress? Why can't she show off her body, this, that, and the other? Because as females in the industry, I do believe that we get hit more. In any aspect, females just have to deal with A lot, okay, but in the industry, people want you to look sexier rather than cuter, or rather than just dress the way you want to dress. And that's one of the things that I really do respect about Billie, is because I'm sure plenty of people, men in particular, being like, why are you dressing like that? If you want to make it in this label, you have to dress like that. Billie just dresses the way she wants to dress, and she's lucky enough for it to work in her favor, because if this had been 10 years ago, people would be like, what trash is that? I'm keeping it real with you. Billie is doing well in an era where things are more acceptable. People still gonna question things, but it's more acceptable. And it makes me think to myself, how do you respond to somebody saying you should be wearing more tight dresses, more bodycon dresses, showing off this, showing off that? How do you respond to that? You don't respond to it. A lot of these pop girls now are wearing more revealing outfits, showing their cleavage. I have nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but majority of people who do complain about that is because they want the best for these artists, and they would rather showcase their vocals rather than showcasing their bits and bobs, okay? Their property, their lost property. But yes, I hope that Billie Eilish doesn't go down the road of taking drugs and just having too much at a young age and just not being grateful for anything anymore, because that's what I felt like Justin Bieber was like at one point. I think that when you have plenty of plaques in your home, you have to just say the stereotypical, you just have to say the typical thank you to my fans, thank you to this, thank you to that. It doesn't become genuine or real anymore because you've had everything handed to you in a platter at such a young age. Billie is fortunate enough to be able to make her own decisions and to say, yes, I want this, I don't want that. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video right here. I hope you guys have learned something from it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know who you guys want to feature in episode 2. And yes, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.